Oh, I figured I'd find you in here. Yeah. Hey, come here. What's that? What's that? How come you haven't got it out of the box yet? You're the unboxing dog. Something else going on? Well, I don't know. You're not opening this one. You don't want to lick that, it's dirty. You don't want to get that in your mouth. Anyways, I wouldn't let you do it anyways because I don't want you breaking it. Because you're a wild thing. Hey guys, this is Dave with Ancient Amnesia and Angster Management. That's my astrophotography page. I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say that we needed some new gear. A couple of things we're doing, just the present gear, the Celestron C8 with the fork arm mount and the Alt-Az type of tracking was just not accurate enough. So it's great for planetary, moons, just sky shots or star clusters. It's awesome for that. It's got a great large lens, really catches a lot of light. But you know, trying to look at stuff that's a little farther and a little harder to see, you need something with a little wider field of view to catch the galaxies, and you also need something that just kind of is a little more of a low f-stop, and that means that it takes less light to get the same exposure. The lower the f-stop, the more light comes into and hits the sensor of the camera over a shorter period of time. So the Celestron C8 is an f10 and an f6.3 with a focal reducer. So what I did was I ordered this AVX mount from OPT Telescopes, and we're going to open it up right now and see what's in it, because I've had a few people message me and say, you know, I want to order one of those, and I've never seen anybody open it. I really don't know what comes in it except for what they tell you on the websites, and they can be kind of vague. So we're going to open it up right now. This one comes from OPT, and I'd have to say it's in a Celestron box, so if you get one from High Point or Agena or any of those, you know, great online companies like B&H, it's probably going to come just like this. So let's get started. I'm just going to start opening this thing up and see what we got to deal with. But this is called an AVX mount, and what this does is it tracks the sky in a little bit of a different way than an Alt-Az mount. An Alt-Az mount tracks it in steps, and we were talking about that when I did my wedge video. And so what's going to happen here is this one's going to not only track it with a smoother movement, you're going to get a polar alignment, so you're not going to get any shift in your space. Moving to one side, you're not going to cut off part of a nebula or anything in the middle of a whole bunch of shots or exposures. But you know, for the moon, this is kind of useless. You know, stuff like that, you're not going to use it for. You're not going to probably look at Jupiter with this thing. I'm going to try, but you know, it's more or less for deep space objects. That's what DSOs are. So it tracks a lot more accurately, and it has the ability to plug in another telescope that sits on top of your telescope that will actually send a message into the mount and tell the mount which way to go through a software called PhD2. So if you're going to get this kind of stuff right here, you want to get PhD2, put it on your laptop even before you get this, play with it, look at it, watch people use it on YouTube. I think Astro Backyard, Nico at Nebula Photos. There's quite a few people, Chuck's Astrophotography, who've done stuff with the computer side of it. I'm keeping it simple. I'm just going to use a simple tracker, PhD2 on my laptop. Nothing really too out of the ordinary. And this AVX mount, this is going to do a lot of the work. Just by itself, this mount's going to enable long exposures, and it's going to basically move the telescope in a manner that is much smoother than when you move it in steps. And I explained that last time, but what that means is the Alt-Az mount moves in steps. This one is actually able to move more fluidly and stay locked in. And with the addition of a tracking scope, which is just a little baby telescope, the next video I do tonight is going to be about putting that together. So it just kind of watches the sky, and the signal gets sent into the mount. The mount can be controlled by the PhD on your computer. PhD is just the software. It's free, and it's really cool. So we're going to give this a shot, but first thing we're going to find out what the heck is in this box. There we go. And you'll notice I have this on bar stools. I like bar stools. You don't have to drink to sit on a bar stool. Make a great rotating platform too when you're working on stuff. And they slide easy, just like that. So already you see it's a box within a box, okay? So anytime you got a box within a box, that's a good sign. Some of your companies that really don't care a lot, they'll just throw it in a box and then pack it full of bubble wrap and peanuts and all that crap. Actually, reboxing it is an excellent choice. So, instructions right on top. Does not look like this has been opened or altered in any way. So, we are going to delve into this. The double box. Now this is also boxes within a box, within a box, within a box. So it's kind of like one of those Russian dolls. So we're just going to kind of concentrate on getting everything out. And then we'll do a little inventory. I'm guessing that's the weight. That right there feels like, geez man, probably 12, 13 pounds. Holy crap. That's why the UPS guy looked a little sweaty when he dropped it off. Yeah, padding's okay. Not too bad. Doesn't look like anything got smashed or bungled. This box over here is, I guess, just tossed in there for spacing with a couple little plastic pieces in there. That I'm sure they're just trim or something. Okay. Now, got this big old guy. Hey. Oh, the arrow. Oh. I'll stack stuff up high, man. No bending over. Sometimes it gets a little teetery. But that's it. Keeps you on your toes. Literally. Okay. You can pretty much ditch the box that came in because it's dirty too. Kind of nasty. Over there. Okay, let's open this up first. I'm guessing this is the tripod. Yep. I was right. I like being right. You like being right, don't you? You're really good. Make sure not to wipe anything out or drop anything breakable here. It's a little blown out at the bottom. Not too bad. You got some that holds it together, so when you pull that off, these right here aren't going to be perfectly tight because they can flop around in the bag. I'm just going to kind of, yeah, look at that, girl. Huh? What do you think? Huh? What's in that box over there? What's that? Hmm? Go get that. Help me out. Go get that. Go. That's a good one for you. Good. This is a whole lot bigger than the Celestron mount. Actually, this is a Celestron mount. This is a whole lot bigger than the tripod that I have for my C8. These legs are like twice as thick. I mean, jeez. Look at those legs compared to these. That's a huge difference. So that's one thing right away. You're not even getting the same tripod. Getting a tripod, you could put those legs inside here all day. So that's nice to see because this is going to be a pretty nice rig that we're going to put on top of here. Alright, it's got a pin right there on the top. I'm sure we'll find out what that's all about. This part is where you hang your accessory tray. That would be this guy. Okay. You might as well get that out of the way and put that sucker on. Won't take long here. This is kind of like the one that I have on my other telescope. It's pretty similar. Holds the same size eyepieces. That's really cool to have. You'll find yourself not putting eyepieces in it though. I found a way to hang my phone in there and I'll tuck any loose wires or anything inside the holes that typically are using for eyepieces. I don't even use eyepieces. I think when I first got my telescope, I think I might have looked through the eyepieces for an hour and said, nope, this isn't for me. I'm not gonna squint through this thing when I can just slap a camera up on that sucker. So that's what I did. And then I got the camera, and next thing you know, I started taking pictures. Not that great at it yet, but I'm learning. Thank you, Travis, Nico, Chuck, all of you guys, man, props. Learned a lot from your channels. One thing I did learn from a lot of these guys is don't take it too seriously. As long as you're not breaking your gear, not really being clumsy, you don't really have to worry too much about this. This stuff is pretty good. All right. So it looks like the mount goes on here. That bolt comes up and enables me to tighten down the accessory tray. Woo! What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? All right, let's see what we got here. I guess this is the head. The mount itself. Love these bar stools. 29 bucks, I'll wait for you. Okay. So far, no popcorn. Hallelujah. All right. Here is this is a Nexstar hand control. This is the standard hand control that comes with all Celestron computerized telescopes and mounts. But I use a StarSense, which is a automatic alignment tool that takes pictures of the sky and knows where it's at by the pictures it takes, aligns the telescope, and boom, you're done within 3 to 5 minutes. You know, a little bit more money, but boy, it just takes a lot off your mind when you're setting up, not having to align. All right, this thing looks pretty beefy. Gotta find a good way to grip it. Okay. This doesn't look like it's ever been opened or taken out or any of that. Still has that fresh, right out of the factory smell. Get back down. When you use bar stools, always make sure you're in the middle. Okay. I didn't know it's like 85 degrees here in Florida. Holy crap. Okay, hardware is in there. Well, they actually knurl the ends of these knobs, which is nice. Because mounting my Celestron 8, it's a smooth knob, and you really got to crank on it. And so what I do is I got a little piece of leather I wrap around and just crank it. But these are kind of knurled. You can see that. So that's probably a good thing. All right. You got that. And the weight. What is this? Sometimes they just put empty boxes in there for padding. But I have a feeling there's something in here. Oh yeah. Little power supply. The cord that goes between the mount and the controller. Alright, so this one is a 12 volt. Has a car plug on the end of it. Which I guess it's kind of cool if you're going to drive out and use the telescope somewhere. You don't have to plug in a generator or any of that, because usually when I go out, I'll bring a little Ryobi generator and plug all my stuff into it, and then I have a fan, and because it's Florida, it's hot. So, looks to me, you know, sometimes I follow instructions, sometimes I don't. Looks to me like I was correct about that going up through the middle of this, but not quite so sure how that sits. Or if there's another piece, so I think we're gonna make sure that the weight is the only thing in here and go from there. Yeah, all this stuff's taped up for the first time. So. Good. Oh yeah. That's a big old sucker. Well, weight's the only thing in there. Yeah. Got a nice big wing on there to tighten it down with. Let's go ahead and loosen that up till it's just good to just loosen this up now, because you're going to put this on and you'll forgot to do that. Bam, it hits it, and then you got this monstrosity in your hands. You're trying to hang on to it while trying to unscrew that. So looks to me like this is a pretty simple setup. I think we're going to just go ahead, take this, and we're going to look here. See that? So it looks as if this is going to fasten right up from the middle, and then it's going to kind of just ride on that lip. Pretty hefty little guy. Where's that going to go? And there we go. A little rubber capped piece right there. Looks like it just kind of sits that way right there. Nothing fancy. Nothing else in there. I don't see it. Hey, what are you doing? Putting it together? You helping me? It's not together yet. What have you been doing? What have you been doing all this time? Ah, jeez whiz. All right, first thing you do, you decide where you want your leg to go. Come set up to where the mount goes in a certain way because of this peg, and that's how you align your azimuth to set up for polar alignment. So you get everything together and then you use knobs. Those knobs have to be put in before we put the mount on. So what we're going to do is we are going to take this mount on this pillow. Set that bad boy right there. And these guys are going to go up in here, and they go sideways from each side. And you adjust them to move the mount right to left. You have to turn the same way. And then when you get to the spot you want, you turn them the opposite way. Kind of like that wedge that we put together last week. So I'm going to put one in here. It just says they just take these out for shipping, so there's not any secret reason that you're putting these in now. You can see that thing would be kind of hard to get in a box. You know, I like pack that stuff in. Okay. And then I'm just going to leave it the way they got it set up, because usually there's a reason they have it set up that way from the factory. If I don't like it, I can always switch it. This just unbolts and you put it in a hole. There's another hole right there, and then that just turns the mount around. But I did read that sometimes if you have it that way, when that weight is swinging around, it can come down and hit that leg. So we want to just avoid that. We're just going to put this on just like it is. And you can kind of see where that goes. See how that is? These knobs that I just put in kind of keep it from going any farther than that. And then you just take this. Now you bottom the bottom one out so you can use it to tighten it. And you want to make sure you don't go out too fast, because this is going to center right into those tripod legs. That's pretty damn tight. Then you tighten that one up, and that's a spreader. It just kind of pushes those legs apart so they don't flop around, just like that. I'm just going to kind of take these in all the way until I feel them bottom out. Kind of watch them and make sure they're even. You don't want them like jammed all one way or the other, because then you won't have that adjustability you're looking for. All right, let's start to tighten up right about there. Good. Good. I think this thing's pretty secure. Gonna get it. Whoa, one more little tighten there. One more tighten there. That's got it. That is one secure piece of equipment. I'm gonna come up here, and it looks like I got it pretty close. I mean, you can look right down that thing and see that it's on that leg. This adjustment here gives you that spin, but it looks like it's pretty darn close to kind of where I want it to be. So what you do on these is these have clutches. Let's spin it around. See how straight that is? It's off just a hair. Not too much though. So that's what you use these for. Okay, we're going to try to kind of just move it one way or the other. There we go. Moving them the same way. I'm just eyeballing down that motor there. And this on that leg. You can use the shine on the plastic with the shine on the pipe to line that sucker up. And you'll get it pretty darn close. Opposite ways to tighten. That means they're both tightening into each other. So that is good. That's nice and solid. Alright, so this is where the scope mounts, obviously. And there is a clutch here. I'll spin this around so you can see it. This clutch locks that from moving. That's how you're going to move your telescope around independent of the mount. These are the locks for it, and they're a lot better than the locks on the C8 too. I'm going to take these, back them out, because you know when you go to put that scope up there, them suckers are going to be sticking out and it's going to catch on it. So just back them out to where they're not blocking the dovetail when it goes through there. So it's pretty good. Now here is another clutch on the side here. These are the Alt-Az adjustments. Now make no mistake, Alt-Az is going to be, you're going to use Alt-Az. This is just going to move more smoothly, and it's going to move more in tune with the sort of the star trails. When you see the star trail pictures, it's going to move like that. And so it gives it that smoothness on top of that, and it tracks a lot better. It's just a better mount all around. So that's pretty much that. And then what you want to do, I don't have the scope on here, so I do not want to go and put that weight on here yet. But this is going to screw up in here. And that is where the weight will mount. Let me turn this around so you can see that. Usually I'll try to support the tripod a little, but this is light. There's no weight on this, so it's not a big deal if you lift it by that. And it looks like it's got a locking collar, so I'm going to run it up as far as I can there. Take it the rest of the way with the collar. And then at one point it's all going to spin together. And you just kind of make sure that's locked down tight so it doesn't spin. You give it a little twist here. Make sure that that's twisted tight and that everything's nice and solid. And then screw this bottom piece. This is what keeps the weights from sliding off if they come loose, which they will. They'll just go sliding down if you have a night where it drops real quick in temperature. Things will expand at different rates. Okay, so we're just gonna, we've already backed that out. Like I said, if you had that tightened in, bam, oh, now you're struggling with your back. Back these guys out. And then just spin that lock up in there. And I'm just gonna take this up high because there's no camera on there or anything. It's just, no need to have a bunch of weight hanging over. And you just adjust the weight of the telescope to the mount using this sliding weight. Super easy. I mean, this is like a caveman could do it. So basically that's it. You know, you got a couple of cables, you got a couple of things to put together to hold accessories on the legs, or you know, whatever these are. But this is a hand control that clips on the leg. That's actually pretty cool because the hand controls do not hold up real well as far as the clips. If you're hooking that thing on in the dark, a lot of times you'll bend it too far, you get pissy with it. That's what happened to me. I got pissy with it. Yeah, sort of like a handheld little guy there. That's pretty cool. Or for the hand control. Interesting. Somehow. I'm guessing I'll be figuring that out. Yeah, well, I still haven't figured out how to put the hose on my vacuum cleaner either, so go figure. So basically that's what it is. It's a pretty easily adjusted unit, up and down, you know, every direction. Moves super smooth. I mean, this is like really, really nice and precision. There's bright lines right here where you can line that sucker up and get it just right. Yeah, so you just kind of lock that down. You like where it's at. Okay. And then this is what we're going to do to adjust it like the wedge. This is the adjustment you do for, here it's, geez, I forget, 49.54 or something like that. So we'll be adjusting that, you know, when we put the telescope on and everything. It doesn't need to be that way now. So basically, that's how you put that up. Now, I gotta say, when these things are down low like this and you want to jack it up, you gotta take these things carefully, one leg at a time. Give it about a foot. Hang on, you don't want that tipping over. One leg at a time, give it a foot. Take it up that way. Don't try to get it all at once because everything all of a sudden wants to tip over. Sorry about putting my ass in your face like that. We'll be counseling at the end of the video. Alright, so that's pretty comfortable height. Remember, if you kick these legs out too far, they're going to kind of get wobbly, and if you have a backyard where cars are going by and stuff a lot, they'll actually move the ground. Keep the legs as short as you can where it's comfortable for. If you're doing visual for this, of course, you know, you're having to bend down and look in it a lot, so that's not going to work for you, but you're not going to do visual with an AVX mount. This is specifically for deep space and tracking, so, you know, visual, you probably jack the thing up to your eye level. So it looks like a pretty good unit to me. It was packaged really well, and I'll be looking forward to using it. I'm going to do a video here in about 20 minutes on putting the telescope together, so I'll finish up a little of my drink and then come back and we'll talk about that. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe. Ancient Amnesia and Angstrom Management. Thanks a lot, guys.